Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, even as we speak, we know the Supreme Court has delivered its verdict. It has heard the voice of the people. It has heard the prayers of the people, because this was not just Sushant Singh Rajput's case. This was about any middle class, common man, any poor person, lower middle class, coming from a small town, having education, having all the attributes, having aspirations, coming to a big town, tasting success on his own terms, but then his life being cut short. This happened to Sushant Singh Rajput at the age of 34. But it could well have been you, me, our children, our brothers and sisters. We don't know. And the Supreme Court just heard that and spoke about the trust and the confidence of the people in the process of justice. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the success of this campaign. This campaign, which was a people's campaign, this campaign that was started here on Times Now, with facts that we put out, with investigation details that our team put out. But can we call it a victory in the name of Sushant Singh Rajput? We can't, because this youngster's gone, and gone forever. His family is fighting for justice. His father, 74-year-old father, has been slandered. And his son is gone forever. As he said, "Mujhe kandha dene wala ab koi nahi raha." It can't be seen as a victory, but at least it is a message to the powers that run governments, that run establishments and institutions. It's a message to all those who feel that they are the one who wield the power and they are the ones who will take the decisions. Today, it's a message to them that no, it is the people of India who hold the cards in their hands. They don't say it every day. They don't exercise their power every day. But when they do, they can punish and they can change the course that the powerful want to show the world is taking. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the wheels of justice are beginning to turn. A sinister lobby that was desperately trying to push the suicide theory has been snubbed. The Supreme Court, answering a pair of millions of SSR warriors by handing over the probe of the Sushant Singh Rajput case to the Central Bureau of Investigation, has made that very, very clear. Ladies and gentlemen, this historic verdict has rattled the Mumbai Police, which has been trying not just a cover-up, but a sabotage, and several lapses that clearly showed their intent. Riya Chakrabarti and her team of lawyers, the main accused, will now face the heat of the central agency. The 5 people who were at home when Sushant Singh Rajput died will face more probing questions. Disha Salian case that is still shrouded in mystery will also be probed by the CBI. The mystery calls, the key maker, the Pithani factor with several inconsistencies, the financial deals, Riya's Bollywood friends, they all will be grilled till we know what actually transpired in the Sushant Singh murder case on that fateful day on June 14th. And on the News Hour tonight, I want to thank all of you viewers who have shown unconditional support to our campaign for justice. It's your voice, your message, your non-stop belief in our investigation team that has led to this historic moment. We also assure you that tonight we won't stop. Mission for CBI probe has been achieved, but the mission for justice has only just begun. It's not over yet, and in the coming days, I'm being told that a sensational, unknown, sinister fact in this case is about to explode. I can't confirm any more than this at this moment, simply because investigators are tying up loose ends, and this is not a case where we want to be first with the news but damage the investigations forever. So stay tuned to this space as you always have been. But before we tell you what that sinister development is going up and going to be, this is how your campaign for justice resounded in the Supreme Court earlier today.
66 days, 112 broadcasts, and 100 investigations. Times Now has led from the front, demanding a CBI investigation. The inside details, the stakeholders, and the newsmakers. Today, Times Now's campaign resonated with the highest court of the country.
CBI has been directed to investigate the case. The judge hands over the case to CBI. That's the first verdict coming in.
The wheels of justice have now been set in motion, and Sushant Singh Rajput's family endorsing Times Now's relentless campaign.
Rani Didi today overwhelmed and said, "Thank you so very much, Times Now, for standing with the family and taking this fight to its logical conclusion. अभी मंजिलें और हैं, रास्ता कहीं और दूर तक जाएगा, पर पहला पड़ाव शायद जनता की आवाज़ ने जीत लिया है."
SSR warriors have been led by a fierce Kangana Ranaut, who cited Times Now's 66-day coverage for bringing together a historic movement for change.
The collective have been awakened by good leadership, whether we have in the center or we have great minds like you and so many people who are standing up for a small town boy who was either killed or conspired against him in such a way that, his life was threatened.
The investigation in the case only took shape and form once the Bihar police took cognizance and then later sought a transfer of probe to the CBI.
बिहार की पुलिस ने एफआईआर किया, स्वीकार किया उसको और उस पर जांच की कार्रवाई प्रारंभ की और बाद में जब सुशांत सिंह के पिताजी की सम्मति मिली तो राज्य की तरफ से सीबीआई इंक्वायरी के लिए इसको रेफर किया गया और सीबीआई ने इसको स्वीकार कर लिया। तो आज तो माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के निर्णय से स्पष्ट हो गया कि बिहार में जो किया गया ठीक और सीबीआई इंक्वायरी करेगी वो ठीक।
But the Maharashtra government has decided to selectively read the 35-page judgment, only highlighting the fact that Mumbai Police was not pulled up for its ineptitude.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजमेंट में जो ऑब्जर्वेशन है उसमें साफ-साफ सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने लिखा है कि मुंबई पुलिस ने जो सुशांत सिंह के केस का जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन किया उसमें बड़े प्रोफेशनली किया, कोई भी दोष वो इन्वेस्टिगेशन में नहीं है।
What's shocking is that even now, the state government's subversive stunts continue.
The Mumbai Police wants to now do a head-on-head battle with the CBI.
The Supreme Court, in fact, had thought about this and even cautioned the Mumbai Police for not holding a parallel investigation, saying that they must cooperate totally with the CBI. But here, this force seems to have some vested interest, Navika.
With this dramatic twist and the role of two DCPs of Mumbai Police under the scanner, one can't wonder but ask, what are Uddhav's men in khaki afraid of? Bureau Report, Times Now.
And the legitimate question on the Newshour tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is one only. Is the Mumbai Police still going to try and sabotage the CBI probe? That's the question and the debate on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining me tonight is Dr. Subramanian Swamy, who's led from the front in fighting for CBI probe for Sushant Singh Rajput. And Dr. Swamy, I want to ask you, even now the Mumbai Police and the Maharashtra Government have decided not to back off. In fact, they have a selective reading of the judgment, the 35-page judgment, and they say that at no place has the Supreme Court faulted the investigation of the Mumbai Police. But I want to draw your attention to one particular point that has been made in the judgment where it says that it wasn't even an investigation. under 75(2), there hasn't 175(2), there hasn't been a case that has been registered. In fact, the entire inquest proceedings have been under 174. So, for the moment, there is no investigation. So, could the CBI or could the Supreme Court really have looked at the merits or the demerits of the investigation at all?
Well, the Maharashtra government is bluffing, and they know very well, because I haven't seen the Advocate General coming and speaking anywhere. He will lose his reputation in the legal field if he spoke all this rubbish. The Supreme Court has said very clearly that there is a difference between investigation and inquiry. You can make an inquiry for a limited purpose of finding out whether you're going to describe this as a murder or death due to natural circumstances like overdose or sleeping pills or something, or by hanging, and so on. But the actual investigation starts once you have registered an FIR. And now the situation is reached that if the Maharashtra Police registers an FIR, the Supreme Court has ordered, I think in paragraph 1141 or so, that it will be investigated on that FIR by the CBI. That is, the Maharashtra government will lose, or Maharashtra Mumbai Police will lose control over that FIR. That FIR will become the property of the CBI. And they have said the Maharashtra criticism of Maharashtra government, there are plenty in a sophisticated language. Maybe the Maharashtrian politicians didn't understand. What they said is that they have gone too far. It was supposed to be just a limited inquiry on the nature of the death, and they have stretched that to do other things which is not permissible under the law. That's there in the judgment, which I can read, but I've already read it in your 8 o'clock show. I'm telling you today, the Maharashtra government should hang its head in shame. They have been called as novices, in effect. They don't know the difference between inquiry and investigation. They have once, if they have come to a conclusion, they did, that it was a suicide, then whether it is a instigated suicide, induced suicide, then they should register FIR, because that's a cognizable offense. And then on that basis, they should have investigated, but they have not. And then on top of that, the Supreme Court says there is a lack of public confidence, and even the parents are aggrieved by it. And the judge became philosophical, said even the soul of Sushant has to get a peace. So for all that, a fair investigation that has the confidence of the public is the CBI, and the judge says under Article 142, the widest power possible, and I am ordering that this should be investigated by the CBI. And if the Maharashtra government persists and registers an FIR, then that FIR will be taken over by the CBI, and they will do that investigation according to that FIR. So I don't think that there is anything for which the Maharashtra government can claim any favor. They should admit that right now, cut their losses, and we know they have some problems, but they must find a way, and they must have peace of mind in the future, so they must come out with the truth now.
So Dr. Subramanian Swamy, you say the Maharashtra government should cut their losses. The way many people are seeing this is the complete doggedness with which the Maharashtra government wants to have some finger or the other in the investigation, wants to be involved somewhere or the other, seems to be the reason why, because they have something to hide. And you mentioned about a conspiracy which had really caused the murder of Sushant Singh Rajput. Do you think there is a connection between the two? The fear of the Maharashtra government and the conspiracy?
Obviously, they have something to hide, because in Palghar they agreed to a CBI inquiry, and but here they are not only not agreeing to a CBI inquiry, they are not even agreeing to register an FIR. 65 days, no FIR, and even before it goes to the mortuary or the postmortem, police says it is suicide, and there's no photograph, there's no closed-circuit television, camera, nothing. And the, those who do the postmortem, they have not got a photograph. I can't believe you can do a postmortem without taking a photograph. You actually take a video. I know in the case because I studied the matter when Sunanda was taken to All India Medical Institute. It was videoed. Every action taken for the autopsy was videoed, and you could see it. And so I am asking the question that if your hands are clean, why did you not allow? Obviously, you couldn't have allowed, because the instinct of a policeman is to register an FIR. It is normal, especially when you have been telephoned to say that someone is dead by hanging. The phone call comes from the apartment, and therefore there is something to hide. Somebody has to be protected. I don't know who it is. There are all kinds of names floating, but I will know in a very short time. I will also know the motive, and I'll come back to you when I'm in a position. But at this time,
you did talk about, and with your permission, yes. I'm just welcoming Mr. Vikas Singh, Senior Counsel representing the family. But Mr. Vikas Singh, allow me the indulgence, because there is a conspiracy theory that Dr. Subramanian Swamy spoke about. I'm sure the viewers would find Dr. Swamy's analysis on this very interesting. So, Dr. Swamy, could you just tell us, you spoke about a Dubai angle and about a conspiracy. Could you please share your conspiracy theory with our viewers tonight?
Well, see, I will start with the premise that Sushant telephoned his sister at I think 9 o'clock in the morning, and at 11:30 the servant finds out that his door is locked, and the guests who stayed overnight were summoned, and they didn't break down. They didn't break down the door. They called the expert, and the expert, a key expert, and he didn't open the door. He unlocked, but they wouldn't allow him to open the door. They caught hold of him, took him downstairs, and left him. Then came back, and then they went in, and having gone in, after that a call was made to the police, and there were police. As soon as they came, they should have sealed the place. They didn't seal the place, so it looks like a act given to them which they were acting according to. And then items were taken away, and then you have the autopsy. We don't know how many bodies went in that van. The media has produced the photographs to show that under one white cloth there were 2 bodies, or there were 2 taken out, 2 put in, all kinds of things. You go then you look at the fact that they didn't go to Leela Hospital, which is 2 kilometers away. They went 11 kilometers to.
But what's the Dubai connection?
The Dubai connection is in the carrying out in that short period the killing of Sushant, because they have the expertise. There is a record which shows that he had got a mark here that comes from what is called as a stun gun that stuns you and paralyzes you. And after that, you can do anything to the body, and even to create the impression it was suicide. And this, I've seen this in Sunanda's matter. I've seen this in Sridevi's matter. And these guys are professionals. They know how to come and do the job and disappear. So therefore, I am basing it on just what is called as verbal information being supplied to me. I can't say that at this moment I can go to court and argue this matter, but certainly this is what I told you, that this is not just simply a suicide. It's not a suicide. It cannot be a suicide. And two, all the background that was created, that also is usually scripted, just as it was done in the case of Sunanda, of lupus.
Well, that makes this case get a new turn. Thank you, Dr. Swamy, for joining me. But Mr. Vikas Singh, big day for you, big day for the family, which was fighting this case out. And Mr. Vikas Singh, even now, the whole country is looking aghast at the Maharashtra government and the Mumbai police, which wants a finger in the investigation. And the only question is, why? Why do they want to sabotage this?
Navika, actually, this is just a a method of trying to hide their face, and this is just a cover to somehow come out of this honorably. I don't think they are planning to do any investigation. They can't do any investigation because if they have even basic knowledge of the CRPC or the judgments of the Supreme Court, investigation can only start after the registration of an FIR. And in this case, Supreme Court has very categorically held that if an FIR is to be registered, that also will go to the CBI. So actually, the Honorable Judge, salute to him for this. He has gone a step further than what we could have demanded from him and what we actually demanded from him. He has not only exercised 142 to transfer this matter to the CBI as a court order, so that this question of jurisdiction is settled once and for all. He has also said that if any other FIR is registered, that also will go to the CBI. So really speaking, there is no scope left with the Maharashtra government to do anything funny now. This is only a posturing which they are doing for a day or two, which they will have to ultimately succumb to this posturing also, and they will have to say that yes, we have no jurisdiction. Because if they try to still act funny, then Navika, I'm going to take them to Supreme Court under contempt, and they will have to answer a contempt charge. So I don't see that they will be in a position to deny access to the CBI to get into this case fully, because the family decided to switch from Patna police to the CBI only because the family felt that Patna police is not being given cooperation and Patna police is being obstructed. So with this view, we thought that if this delay happens, this delay is ultimately going to really cause huge loss in the investigative process. So we agreed for the CBI, and I'm so glad that the Honorable Judge has finally ruled every point in my favor. So every issue that I argued in Supreme Court, on all points, every point has been decided in our favor, and it has been held that this was a case properly registered in Patna. Channel after channel, Navika, senior DGs, retired DGs of police, public prosecutors came and said that no, this FIR can't be registered. And on one channel, I had a school senior who was a former DG police. I had to tell him that, sir, I'm sorry, you don't know the CRPC. And he was quite furious. But now my interpretation of CRPC has been upheld by the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court, and this is not something which is new, Navika. This is on the basis of precedents which were already there. So it's not as if some Pandora's box has been opened. This judgment has merely reiterated the law as it stood earlier, already settled by several authoritative pronouncements of the Supreme Court. So Navika, now the family is very hopeful. For the first time, the investigation is on the right track, because so far Mumbai police was on a completely derailed route, and Patna police was not allowed to proceed. So Patna police has done a little bit, and now the CBI will take it to its logical
Mr.
end.
Vikas
And let's
Singh, I
hope
want
that
to
something
ask you,
comes out very quickly.
The judgment
and with
of
all of you,
Justice
especially
Rishikesh
your
Roy
channel,
does talk about people's faith, people's trust, which should be, upheld by institutions that are investigating. And on that score alone, I think it says that there are political charges being made on both sides, and people's perception of the investigation done by the Mumbai police does raise questions. Do you think, Mr. Vikas Singh, yes, this is Sushant Singh Rajput's case. Yes, it is the family that was looking for justice, but it also became at one level or the other the case of the people of India, and how people of India actually got together to demand justice.
Navika, I must compliment you and your channel for doing a fantastic job in this matter. You've been able to really, keep this issue alive. And, the people, because of your efforts and efforts of the other channels, the people have also galvanized themselves. And as a counsel for the family, I tell you, Navika, I'm inundated by the kind of support that I'm getting from all over the world. Australia, Singapore, Kuwait, US, Canada, I'm getting London, I'm getting people who are wanting to, assist me in technical terms, assist me for the purpose of post-mortem. And they are so concerned globally that what has happened to Sushant Singh Rajput should not happen ever again to anybody else. And that is why, because of this public outcry, which also has been sort of given, because of your channel, it has also, helped the public to, assemble and, create this huge mass movement. Now things are very different. Now, even in the CBI, we are sure that the things will continue to remain in the right direction.
That's right.
And very soon we will get justice, and very soon the culprits will be brought to books.
That's right. That's what we said, Mr. Vikas Singh. The wheels of the court have moved, but the wheels of the justice still have to continue. And the people's participation and, of course, Times Now will continue to follow this to its logical conclusion. Thank you very much, Mr. Vikas Singh, for joining me on the Newshour tonight. And I'm opening up this debate.
Thank you.
I want to ask Mr. Sanjay Hegde. Mr. Sanjay Hegde, Section 142, Article 142 is used sparingly, but in this case, the Supreme Court did find that it was actually a battle of the people's faith and trust. And that's very important, because faith in institutions is more important than anything else. People come and go, but institutions have to satisfy the general public. Isn't that the learning from this case and the way the Supreme Court has decided it today?
Navika, you must know that a judgment under 142 is a special judgment. It has no precedential value. It is the court's perception as to the correct order to do complete justice. Complete justice is a phrase that I would not venture to define further. Here, what the court has said is that, look, there are two quarreling police investigating agencies. It is the best thing to do here is to send it to a third agency, more so when the proposed accused, as everybody puts her, says that I have no problem sending it to the CBI. As long as there is an independent investigation, as long as there are allegations of politicization of the Bihar police, the Maharashtra police, let it go to the CBI. That is the court's judgment, and the court has taken it upon itself. Therefore, it has used 142. It's also possible that it used 142 because the proceedings before the court was only a transfer from Bihar to Bombay. The court said that under 406 of the CRPC, the original petition was filed. There is no question of transferring an investigation. It's only after a matter becomes a case that it can be transferred. So the court says, okay.
Sanjay Hegde, you've been with me on many debates on this entire issue, and I know 5 years of law I can't learn in the next half an hour on the Newshour tonight from you. But from what I understood from the position that you took on earlier debates is कि jurisdiction का मामला है, ये बिहार पुलिस कर ही नहीं सकती, ये मुंबई में ही होना पड़ेगा, इसमें और कुछ हो नहीं सकता क्योंकि सीबीआई को तो महाराष्ट्र सरकार को ही देना पड़ेगा. All that has turned on its head, Sanjay Hegde. So why don't you admit that round one goes to the people of India? And DGP of Bihar is joining me on the Newshour tonight. I want to ask you, Mr. Pandey, यही तो तर्क था सबका कि ये jurisdiction की लड़ाई है और महाराष्ट्र में क्राइम हुआ है, बिहार में हुआ नहीं है, इसलिए बिहार का तो कोई लोकस स्टैंडाई नहीं है इस इन्वेस्टिगेशन में, और सीबीआई को जब तक महाराष्ट्र सरकार देगी नहीं तब तक सीबीआई को केस जा नहीं सकता, इसमें कोर्ट में कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. That was the confidence of the other side. Today, is it law? Is it people's movement? Or is it really where we stand in terms of putting ourselves below institutions rather than being arrogant that we have complete control over how law has to be interpreted? Mr. Gupteshwar.
Okay, true. I am telling you, in my first interview with you also, that I told you, I believed that I could register a FIR in Patna simply because partial cause of action is here in Patna also. His father, Mr. K.K. Singh, father of late Sushant Singh, lives here in Patna, and he is the natural heir of late Sushant after his death. Nobody is there in the family. Sushant is unmarried, he doesn't have a wife. Mr. K.K. Singh has already lost his wife, so nobody is there in the family. He is 74 years old, sick man, and he cannot go to Mumbai and fight the case with such big people. It's just impossible. And because he is the natural heir of late Sushant, so, and there is a money trail in this case, and he is the sufferer, and he lives in Patna, so partial cause of action is here also in Patna. This is why we registered the case here in Patna. And I was very much sure that we had a right to register a case over here. And once a case is registered, you don't have any option left. You can't sit idle on this FIR. You have to take it to its logical end. You have to take up investigation. And PU is there in Mumbai. So I had to dispatch my team there at Mumbai. And what happened with my team, that everybody know, whole India has watched this. The way my officers were humiliated, 2-3 days they couldn't contact anybody, all those things happened. Then for better coordination, one IPS officer is being sent with prior information to all concerned there, that this officer is going for better coordination, kindly provide him a room and a vehicle also. Room in IPS mess is not provided, and when he goes there, he is quarantined midnight like a prisoner. This is very what should I say? This is unethical, unprofessional behavior of Mumbai police. And then before that, I had never spoken against CP Mumbai. I had never spoken against DGP Maharashtra. Even today, I have not spoken personally against DGP or CP Mumbai. But whatever they did, that was not. I wanted to contact them. I tried to contact DG Maharashtra also. He didn't take my call. I sent him message, didn't respond to my message. Then the funniest thing is that ACS Home Additional Chief Secretary Bihar, I told DGP Maharashtra is not talking to me, he is not responding to my message, he is not taking my call. So I requested my friend who is Additional Chief Secretary Home here, that you please speak to your counterpart there in Maharashtra so that there is no communication gap. Why my officer has been quarantined? This is not done. When he tried to contact his counterpart over there, despite his best efforts, he couldn't contact. This is very funny. They stopped complete communication and I was left with no option. Then I started speaking. What is this? This is not done. This is totally unprofessional behavior. तो हमको तो कोई उपाय नहीं है. और even Supreme Court observed And despite Supreme Court's observation, they delayed much. We had to write a letter and we had to tell them, ki, this is the observation of Honorable Supreme Court. And if you don't free my officer, then we'll move to court or we'll... then they somehow freed him. Whole team came, my IPS officer was there. Later on, they released him and he came. So this whole action of Mumbai police, the way they have behaved, created a lot of doubt. There must be some mystery behind this. It's not a normal case of suicide, Navika. There is something very serious. Some mystery is there, that mystery has to be unfolded.
Mr. Pandey, that you got from your officers who managed to investigate on the surface at least, any leads that you got ki gadbad thi kya?
Now, how much time did we get? My officer went over there 2 days. Nobody was ready to meet. Nobody. They refused to meet. They are moving from office to office. DCP West, DCP East, DCP Investigation, DCP Bandra. Nobody was ready to talk to them. Forget about sharing the information. Forget about handing over whatever medical legal evidence. They were not ready to meet even. With my intervention, somehow DCP detective allowed few minutes. They went over there, they talked, but he flatly refused. Will not hand over any medical legal evidence.
Not
will
surprising.
Not
Ravi Srivastava, why should now
this,
the CBI not investigate the Mumbai police officials as well, who kept this case hanging, who removed and botched up all the evidences, who got calls from the family, did not find out the well-being of Sushant Singh Rajput, who was a citizen living in Mumbai, in their area. फोन कर नहीं पूछा, कांस्टेबल भेज कर नहीं पूछा, और रिस्क टू लाइफ फैमिली ने बताया था. And when there is a cognizable offense in the making, people dial 100 so that they can contact the police. कुछ भी नहीं किया गया. And after that, the DCP of Bandra East is in touch with Riya Chakrabarti, who is the accused in an FIR in Bihar. And you want us to believe that there is no forensic evidence, there is no sanitization of the site, there are no pictures, yet the Mumbai police was doing investigation. Ravi Srivastava, क्या छुपा रही है मुंबई पुलिस और महाराष्ट्र सरकार?
Okay, your question is over now. You have put up a...
You don't decide that, Mr. Ravi Srivastava. You don't decide. Question will be raised by the people of India. Today, I am expressing the power of the people. You have no right to decide how long and how many questions I want to ask.
And they have botched up several probes in the past. There are known cases of Arushi murder case, Jia Khan case, Deepika case, and name the case, even the 2G case. They have botched up. They have 3% conviction rate they have got. Are you aware of it? Can you tell me now on camera here on this channel that 30 days now, from now 30 days onward, can you call the CBI director on your channel and ask him how many people he has convicted till now? Can you do you dare to call him? You are very happy about
Mr. Ravi Srivastava, the CBI's performance is known to everybody. They have a low conviction rate. But do you know that people had even lesser faith in the Mumbai police? That should give you a message. And let me get in Jia Khan. You mentioned Jia Khan. Let me get in Jia Khan's mother, Rabia Khan. And I want to ask you, Rabia Khan, you know, there are questions being raised about the conviction rate of the CBI. Rabia Khan, I want to ask you, CBI की conviction rate पे जाने से पहले ये मुंबई पुलिस की credibility तो देख लें. मुंबई पुलिस की क्या credibility है, राबिया जी?
Let the CBI investigate. Let the CBI probe even Mumbai police. Who is stopping? Let the CBI probe even Mumbai police.
Okay, calm down, Ravi Srivastava. Don't show your...
And ask Madam Rabia Khan that what she has got from CBI. Her daughter's death case, 6 years. She's still struggling with that. What did she get? And you are looking so happy about it.
So why don't you allow Rabia Khan ji to speak? Why don't you listen to her? Yes, Rabia Khan.
When my case went to CBI, because the Mumbai police completely destroyed the evidences. And then the CBI was collecting evidences. The Bombay police created so much difficulties that they couldn't find the ligator. Now, after 3 months of CBI having the case, there was so much pressure and influence of Bollywood that the officer took a U-turn. I have to say that if the CBI officer, one officer, that was the junior officer who wanted to shut the case. I went to CBI headquarters and I told them about it, what is happening in Mumbai. So they questioned these officers, and CBI head office told me, trust the institute. 1 or 2 officers can get under influence or under the oppression or under the pressure of politicians or Bollywood icons, but not the entire institute. So I am having a faith. But let me tell you, CBI did not need, they needed to do their job. They did not need to come under the influence of Mumbai Police or Bollywood, because they are a different body and they are a premier agency of, they keep a flagship of India. So our hope, was restored by the DCBI and by the Joint Director, not by the CBI officer in Mumbai. Today was my hearing, and I have asked the Session Court for further investigation, that why CBI officer had stopped my investigation.
That's the point.
Frankly, when
people like Rabia can't continue to have their faith. Yes, a few officers can be wrong. Nobody is saying the CBI is the ultimate agency. But I want to ask. I want to ask Shehzad Poonawalla. Shehzad Poonawalla. Ravi Srivastava, just take a chill pill. Relax.
I am taking a chill pill. I am not on any agenda. I am not on any agenda.
What do you think our agenda is? What do you mean by I'm not having any agenda? What do you mean by saying I'm not having any agenda? What do you think our agenda is other than the truth? You think we have another agenda other than the truth in this case? Do you think, Mr. Ravi Srivastava, it couldn't have been your child, my child, your brother, my brother, your nephew, your niece?
FIR, you are doing it.
Shehzad Poonawalla, Ravi Srivastava is questioning our agenda. What is our agenda? Anything other than the truth?
I'll tell him. Ravi, first I request Times Now, please give Ravi Srivastava some pani, thanda pani. We don't want anything to happen to this dear man, Ravi Srivastava. And मैं गाना भी गा देता हूँ रवि श्रीवास्तव जी आपके लिए. नहीं, I am very concerned, sir. मेरे ऊपर आपकी हत्या का इल्जाम आ जाएगा, सर, प्लीज. अच्छा, नो, let me speak. रवि श्रीवास्तव को थोड़ा ब्रेक दीजिए. मैं आपके लिए गाना गा रहा हूँ. अरे मैं आपके लिए गाना गा रहा हूँ रवि जी, सुन तो लीजिए गाना. गाना तो सुनिए सर, आप गाना तो सुनिए, आप बात तो सुनते नहीं, गाना तो सुनिए सर. आपके लिए गाना गा रहा हूं मैं, मेरी आवाज से गाना गा रहा हूं. आप प्लीज थोड़ा फेडर डाउन कीजिए. रवि श्रीवास्तव के लिए गाना. अच्छा, टाइम्स नाउ प्लीज थोड़ा फेडर डाउन कीजिए, वरना ये चीखते रहेंगे, मेरे कान में भी आवाज इनकी आ रही है. मेरा गाना शुरू कर रहा हूं मैं, थोड़ा सा टाइम्स नाउ इनका फेडर डाउन कीजिए. तुम इतना जो बिलबिला रहे हो, कौन से नेता को बचा रहे हो? हाँ रवि श्रीवास्तव, तुम इतना जो बिलबिला रहे हो, तुम इतना जो चीख चिल्ला रहे हो, कौन से नेता को बचा रहे हो? And आज Navika, now see, this man is getting intolerable. Now he has to give others also a chance to speak. Navika, it is difficult for him to keep yapping and we have to speak. It is an obstacle course.
I have
Navika, today the entire suicide gang.
Because even my voice is not getting across to him. But yes, you make your point.
There's also an audio yeah. But see, the voice of truth cannot be suppressed, and therefore it has come out in Supreme Court. And today the entire suicide gang, this suicide theory gang, must be feeling like they should commit suicide. Not literally, I hope. But today it is a victory of Satya over Asatya, Nyay over Anyay, Janta over Vyavastha, and the victory of Parivar, Sushant ka Parivar over the Maha-Bollywood Aghadi, the Maha-Bollywood Aghadi of Dushprachar, which was spreading lies about Sushant, that he was mentally gone, that he wanted to commit suicide, that he was frustrated with life, that he was bipolar. This Maha-Bollywood Aghadi that had Team Riya, that had certain journalists that said that, listen, this Sushant was a chota-mota actor, certain politicians who said Sushant's father had 2 wives. Today, the Parivar of truth, that includes you, Navika,
Gupta has won the battle, but it is only step one. CBI for SSR is only step one, and today we must ask, should this Home Minister of Maharashtra and part-time psychologist and psychiatrist not resign? Today Sanjay Raut, should he not come on to TV channels in the form of Sanjay Gupta and say sorry to the entire country? And today should the Mumbai Police, which is trying to run a parallel investigation, not give us the answer as to why on page 35-page order the Supreme Court has said why was no investigation done under 175(2)? Today these people who are saying media trial, should they not come out and apologize for the kind of character assassination of Sushant's father? And today they should not tell us 65 days on why there has been no investigation. And today those who are saying गुप्तेश्वर पांडे जी आपने औकात की बात क्यों की? पर औकात की बात तो आप कर रहे थे जब आपने सुशांत को छोटा मोटा एक्टर कहा, जब आपने सुशांत को बाइपोलर कहा. कहां है वो जर्नलिस्ट, कहां है वो पूरी लॉबी, सुसाइड लॉबी? आज उनको देश से माफी मांगनी चाहिए.
संजय गुप्ता जी देश से माफी मांगेंगे आज, क्योंकि संजय राउत जी ने तो के सिंह जी, जिनके बेटे चले गए, जो जस्टिस की गुहार लगा रहे थे, इंसाफ मांग रहे थे, उनको तो आपने कह दिया इन्होंने 2-2 शादियां कर रखी हैं. अगर कर भी रखी होती हैं, एक तो आपने कैरेक्टर असैसिनेशन किया, जो सत्य नहीं है उसको सत्य बताया, और फिर अगर कर भी रखी थी तो क्या वो अपने पुत्र के लिए, जिसने उन्हें कांधा देना था, उसके लिए अगर वो इंसाफ मांगे तो आप उनके बारे में ये सब कहेंगे? आप ये दुष्प्रचार फैलाएंगे कि अरे भाई सुशांत सिंह राजपूत तो मेंटली डिस्ट्रेस थे, आप चुप रह जाइए, अगर आपको जस्टिस चाहिए. क्या क्या थ्रेटन नहीं किया, स्लैंडर किया, थ्रेटन किया संजय राउत जी ने, और उसके बाद कहा कि फैमिली के रिलेशंस भी ठीक ठाक नहीं थे. ऐसे दी जाती है जस्टिस? आज माफी मांगेंगे आप?
नहीं, देखिए नाविका, जिस तरह से संजय राउत जी ने के सिंह जी के विषय में जो कहा था, ठीक है, वो उनके पास बाय चांस किसी ऐसे सूत्र से जानकारी आई, हालांकि कुछ भी किसी भी तरह से जानकारी आई थी जिस पिता के पुत्र की इस तरह से मृत्यु हो गई हो, उसके विषय में कुछ किसी भी तरह के ऐसे शब्द नहीं कहने चाहिए.
नहीं कहने चाहिए. तो आज तक उद्धव ठाकरे ने आकर माफी क्यों नहीं मांगी? आज तक उद्धव ठाकरे ने संजय राउत के खिलाफ कोई एक्शन क्यों नहीं लिया?
माफी मांगे
क्यों नहीं लिया? नहीं कहनी चाहिए थी से क्या मतलब होता है?
अगले दिन इन्होंने अपने शब्द वापस ले लिए थे. आपके पास जानकारी है ये, फिर भी आप इस बात को कह रहे हैं.
शब्द कभी वापस लिए जाते हैं?
शब्दों को वापस ले लिया था.
मुझे ये बताइए, शब्द कभी वापस लिए जाते हैं? सुशांत सिंह राजपूत की जिंदगी आज आप वापस दे सकते हैं क्या? आपके डीसीपी ने अगर फैमिली की कंप्लेंट सुनी होती तो आज शायद सुशांत सिंह राजपूत जिंदा होते. दे सकते हैं वापस उसकी जिंदगी? बताइए.
इस विषय में मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा कि जिस तरह से एक कंप्लेंट बिहार में दी गई, इस तरह से एक भी कंप्लेंट बॉम्बे में नहीं दी गई उनके परिवार के द्वारा, किसी भी व्यक्ति के द्वारा. चर्चा तो की
जब कंप्लेंट दी थी तो मुंबई पुलिस ने कुछ किया क्या? शहजाद पूनावाला क्यों कंप्लेंट देते? वो मुंबई पुलिस ने कुछ किया जब फरवरी में बताया था?
तो जब सुशांत सिंह जी थे तब दी, ना सुशांत सिंह जी के जाने के बाद
पुलिस ने मुंबई पुलिस ने केवल दुनिया के सबसे बड़ा कवर अप किया, दुनिया के सबसे बेहतरीन मुख्यमंत्री के तहत दुनिया के सबसे बढ़िया युवा नेता को बचाने के लिए केवल कवर अप किया गया. मुझे आज बताइए संजय गुप्ता जी, संजय राउत ने बोला जाओ यूनाइटेड नेशंस चले जाओ, सीआईए के पास चले जाओ, ये सम्मान करना हुआ परिवार का. संजय राउत ने कहा आज भी कि मुंबई पुलिस बहुत अच्छा काम कर रही है, आज भी आप लोगों को पैरेलल इन्वेस्टिगेशन करनी है. आज सवाल इतने सारे खड़े हुए, खुद सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने सवाल खड़े किए, तब भी आप सीबीआई की जांच में नो एंट्री का दीवार बनकर खड़े हैं. क्या छुपाना चाहते हो? किसको बचाना चाहते हो? संजय गुप्ता जी, पहले तो आप कहिए क्या गृह मंत्री को इस्तीफा नहीं देना चाहिए जिन्होंने सुसाइड थ्योरी का झूठा प्रचार किया? क्या आज आप जिन्होंने कैरेक्टर असैसिनेशन किया परिवार का, क्या आपको इस्तीफा नहीं देना चाहिए? आज गृह मंत्री को इस्तीफा देना चाहिए. आज उन तमाम लोगों को इस्तीफा देना चाहिए जो सीबीआई की जांच के लिए
बिल्कुल सही है कि सुशांत सिंह राजपूत तो बहाना है, असली मकसद तो महाराष्ट्र सरकार निशाना है. ये बात है आपकी बीजेपी के लोगों की.
नहीं, क्यों सरकार से क्या लेना देना? अगर सरकार
सुप्रीम कोर्ट राजी दिलवाती, सुप्रीम कोर्ट
सुशांत सिंह की क्या दुश्मनी थी सरकार से?
इनके बहाने हमेशा तैयार होते हैं, ये हर चीज को पॉलिटिकल बनाना चाहते हैं. एक आम आदमी
सरकार की, मुंबई पुलिस
एक आम आदमी की जिंदगी का इनके लिए कोई मायने नहीं है. इनके लिए सिर्फ अपनी पॉलिटिक्स से इनको वास्ता है. एंड टुडे लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, आई वांट टू रीड आउट द स्टेटमेंट दैट जस्टिस ऋषिकेश रॉय मेड इन हिज in his judgment. He says, when truth meets sunshine, justice will not prevail on the living alone, but after life's fitful fever. Now the departed will also sleep well. Satyameva Jayate. Justice is not just about the family. Justice is not just about you, me, people who are alive. But justice needs to be done to the departed soul. And to the departed soul, Satyameva Jayate is what the judge has said. Because this was the plea of Riya Chakrabarti when she first tweeted and tagged the Home Minister of India seeking a CBI investigation. What happened in between that this entire approach changed? Why did she approach the Supreme Court? Well, she has the right to do so, but why did the point of view change completely? From standing up for her partner, she became somebody who was opposing him in his death. The Mumbai Police, which buried every single evidence, piece by piece by piece, from day one, no sealing the site, no forensic evidence till day 3, no control over mystery woman, mystery man coming onto the website, no pictures, no forensic investigations, no photography of the autopsy, no time of the autopsy, no detailed investigation on what caused the death, no looking at the financial problems that the family was talking about. Yet, they want to claim that they did justice. Well, the question India is asking tonight is, what did they want buried? Why was this case so personal for the Maharashtra government and the Mumbai Police? Because, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned to Times Now. In the next 24 to 48 hours, you will know why. Because there is a sinister turn that's coming up. The investigations are on, the loose ends are being tied up. And I promise you, I'll bring you that sinister turn before anybody else does. And you will begin to understand pieces of the puzzle as they fall in place. We will continue to fight for justice, and it's going to be a long way. Thank you very much to you, dear viewers, for Mile Sur Mera Tumhara as we fought for justice. Good night from me.